I remember a particular time I was talking to a founder, and they were telling me about the fact that they've been trying to write books for years because they looked at my bookshelf and they saw that I'd written quite a few books. And they said, you know what? How did you do it? Okay, let me ask you a question. How long do you write for when you sit down to write? Oh, they said to me, oh, usually around 2 or 3 hours. And, when I really get into it, I might even do longer sometimes because I'm kind of into it. And I kind of smiled. I said, that's the problem. They were like, what do you mean that's the problem? Are you trying to tell me not to write for that long? I said, yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You're writing for too long because that way of writing is relying on them having within themselves the enthusiasm and the drive to sit down on that day to write for that long. You maybe, if you have a full-time job, you may find it extremely impossible for you to sit down and write for 2 hours every day. You just don't have the time. Neither do you have the motivation every day to do that. So what should you do? I said to them, what you need to do is you need to sit down and write for 10 minutes for 5 days a week. And you need to do that every day, or for 5 days a week for 1 whole month. I asked them, do you have 10 minutes a day for 5 days a week? Well, yeah, of course I have. I would have more than that. I said, okay, but what I want you to sign up for is for you to sit down and write for 10 minutes a day minimum. Whether you feel like it or you don't feel like it, you set those days, you set that time, you sit down where you said, and you write for 10 minutes. And if nothing comes out, you still sit there for 10 minutes, 5 days a week. Guess what? Within 1 or 2 months, they had written the book. Because first few days they sat down, they wrote for 10 minutes and a little bit more. So later they wrote for the following week, they found themselves writing for half an hour every day. Then the habit really kicked in and they made sure they wrote for longer than 10 minutes, almost an average of like half an hour to 45 minutes every single time they sat down. Why? Because the habit kicked in. And let me tell you something, goals don't build businesses, but it's habits that's going to help you to build your business. It's habits that are going to help you to go from one level of your founder's journey to another. Because guess what? Goals would inspire you, but habits is what's going to transform your life. And you need that transformation for you to go from one stage of the founder's journey to another. So if you're starting from the explorer stage and you need to get to the builder stage, or you're the builder, you want to get to operator, or you're operator, you want to get to growth, or you're a growth founder, you want to get to visionary founder, then you need to develop the habits that is going to ensure you get there. Why am I saying all this? I'm saying this because the founders don't suddenly arrive, they evolve. That's why in this video, we're talking about your habits must evolve as well as you. Okay, so let's move forward and go into this. I said earlier, if you are an explorer, your goal, the primary goal of an explorer is to choose the right business to build, all right? Before you invest months in trying out a particular idea, you need to run it through these 7 signs that you've chosen the right business. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch that video on the 7 signs that you have chosen the right business. All right, so what you need to do, the habits you need to work on is talking to potential customers and observing their problems and possibly testing out one idea at a time. If you're at the builder stage, this is where you need to generate your first sales, you need to be talking to at least 5 potential customers every week. You might be able to talk to 5 potential customers every day. You might be able to do that. If that's the case, boom, you need to do that. You need to make sure you are making at least one offer and asking for referrals. Those are the habits you need to build on a weekly basis. If you're an operator and you want to generate consistent sales, hey, guess what you need to do? You need to measure your sales, you need to improve your processes, and you need to repeat what's working. Notice that if you are in the growth founder stage, and your goal then is to enable the business to work without you, what do you need to do? You need to start documenting your systems. You need to write down how one task is done so that someone else can get up there and do it without you. And you need to learn to delegate so that you can hands off each decision or task that you have been used to doing. That's the stage that you are at, and that's the habit you need to build. What if you are a visionary founder, or you are at the visionary founder stage? You want to build something that is bigger than you. What kind of habits you need to cultivate? You need to cultivate the habits that enables you to identify and nurture good partnerships, and then start investing time in strategies that will pay off in the future. See, the reality is that when you start repeating these habits on a weekly basis, you're going to move from one level of your founder's journey to another. So what I'm asking you to do today is, one, identify what founder's journey stage you are at. And how do you do this? If you are watching this for the first time, if you're coming into this ecosystem for the first time, then you need to look in the description box. You'll find a free founder's journey assessment tool. Complete that, it's free, and then it will tell you what stage you are at and what you need to do to get you to the next stage. Then you need to choose the habit that fits that stage. Once you've chosen that, you write down and commit to doing something like that on a regular basis. What are you going to do on a regular basis that's going to become a habit that will take you into transformation that leads to getting you to the next stage? Like I said earlier, founders don't suddenly arrive. They evolve from one stage to another. So again, look in the description box below. You'll find the free Founders Journey Assessment tool. Complete that, and it will tell you what you need to do next. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. In the next video, we're going to be talking about why starting small is actually your own greatest advantage. See you soon.